A story about two guys that can dive into Instagram posts and other photos to solve problems, and who happen to be hot, and with a sus partnership is surely the best way to kick off this channel. So let's begin. Ling, the landlord lady of the Time Photo Studio, arrives at the studio acting as the middleman between the boys and their clients. She informs Guang, a cool-headed white-haired guy, and Xiaoshi, the impulsive yet nice manager of the Time Photo Studio, that the task is from an unnamed client who wants to expose a company's fraudulent activities. Using a photograph taken by Emma, a secretary at the company's office, Guang, who can foresee everything that happens inside a photo, within 12 hours searches if there is an opening to acquire well-protected data. After looking into it, he finds one opening, which is enough for him to guide his partner Cheng, who can enter the photographs and possess the photographer's body as well as mind. Now in Emma's body, guided by Guang's conscious in the present, he impersonates Emma, but as the saying goes, walking a mile in another's shoes, or rather heels in this situation, is not as easy as our boy finds himself in a quote-unquote Me Too situation by Emma's boss. Guang tells him to calm down and go through it, because if they change anything, it will change the future of the person. Thankfully, he receives a call as Emma from her mother, saving him from the situation. Now at Emma's house, Guang and Cheng talk whilst lying in their respective beds. We learn aside from controlling what they can do, Cheng can also take on their memories and feelings as a side effect of the possession. That's when Guang advises Cheng to be careful and not do anything that could change the timeline. Against this advice, Cheng sends a text message to Emma's parents after being touched by her mother's concern. The following morning, Cheng is in a meeting room with the boss, co-workers, and most importantly the laptop that contains the data. The boss is too cautious and has an anti-peeking shade over his screen, which is very handy if you're a scumbag cyber thief or know people with no sense of personal space. Hear that, Jimmy? Keep your fucking eyes to your phone. Sorry. As we were saying, to see the data, Cheng slaps a cup of hot coffee into the douche's lap, giving him an opening to read some data before a wild redhead BH comes charging in, accusing her of belonging to the streets, and slapping her, or rather him. So Guang tells Cheng to control his emotions, and remember the mission. With no other option, our boy takes the next slap like a champ, or better yet, like a rock, dropping him to the ground along with the laptop, giving him time to pass the information to Guang on the other end. In the present, a sad Emma stumbles into her home and sees the message she sent to her parents when Cheng was in her. She calls her parents, who are preparing to get a train ride to see her, and then she rushes there. Emma is offered a ride to the station by a man. Meanwhile, Cheng discusses the implications of his actions with his partner. When Cheng is distracted by Ling, Guang takes a look at his phone to find news that Emma has died. Note to self, do not accept rides from strangers, especially the ones who are wearing hats. Thankfully, the next mission was more on the lighthearted side, being about two ladies who were partners in work, and life for 10 years at a noodle shop. However, as with all good things, the partnership comes to an end. So you, now the owner of a chain restaurant company, finds the Time Studio duo hoping to obtain the secret soup recipe secretly kept by her old partner, Lin Zhen. Through multiple failed attempts to learn the secret recipe, Cheng comes to understand the reason for the breakup between Yu and Lin to be a difference in ideology on how to run the noodle shop. Yu wanted to grow, while Lin wanted a small noodle shop. Piecing together clues while on a ride back home with the most wholesome taxi driver, Cheng realizes that the secret ingredient was a fragrant flower from Yu's hometown that Yu used to add when the girls made noodles in the girls' dorm room. Hearing this, Yu tears up to then go seek out and find Lin to repair their friendship, ending this adventure, as said earlier, on more the lighter-hearted side, as the two embraces with a smile. The next day, Lin is seen being stalked by a man while having her morning run. The man reaches out to her to be stopped by the swag king Guang, and they ask the guy, "Who the fuck are you?" The man answers, "I'm an architect, Chen Zhao. I was following you to make sure you're the lady who the rumors talk about." She tells him, "Why you didn't just ask me? I didn't want to be scammed out of my money by a random chick, as the rumors were not specific. Some people say the lady's a fair-looking young woman, while others say it's an old witch," the man said, before handing the pic to Guang, telling them that he wants to change his regrets from the past during his last basketball game. With the mission at hand, into the photo we go. Now, if you're a fan of Slam Dunk, then episode 3 is for you, and I would recommend you to watch it fully, although the game started as mid, but became decent when Cheng, who had the role of benchwarmer and photographer during the game, flashed his camera, allowing the opponent to get away with purposefully injuring the team's star player. This move was indeed very stupid because when our boy stepped in as substitute, he dominated the court. However, Chen's actions could end up shifting the past and altering the future, something that Guang warns Cheng of multiple times, especially in regards to changing the results of the game. That said, when Cheng passes the ball to a teammate in the final moments, the teammate scores a 3-point shot, changing the results of the game. After the basketball game, Cheng continues the mission smoothly, encouraged by Guang's assurance that the node, or critical point in history, has not been altered. Cheng learns that the team captain pushed for the basketball court to not be torn down if they could win the game, and the coach lacks the heart to admit that the gym will be torn down anyway. Cheng bikes the captain home and delivers a message the client has written to him. The two meet the captain's sister, and the three of them go home together. The sister walks with Cheng afterward, who also receives a message. After going home and resolving a fight with Chen's mother, the final message was delivered. However, this mission is far from over, as Cheng soon realizes that this mission was directed toward an earthquake breaking his mind, which sends him to flashback land to the time when his parents died from the same earthquake. So he confronts Guang about his behavior throughout the mission, saying, "I see now why you didn't get mad when I was changing the results of the game. It's because whatever I do, the end is the same. They are destined to die." And so Cheng rides out frustrated, while Guang, on the other end, telling him if he attempts to do anything that would change the fate of the characters, the futures might change drastically, saying it might even change their future, not being in present time. That said, Cheng ignores this and attempts to convince Chen's friends to flee their village to escape the earthquake with little success. Then Cheng begs Guang to allow him to save Chen's mother, and Guang agrees. He tells him when Cheng survived, he did so in the dining room, so he goes to the client's mother and tells her to hide with him under the dining table. She tells him she needs to bring something. A couple seconds away from the earthquake, Cheng heads to bring the object, and before he reaches the table, the earthquake hits and he gets buried under the rubble. Cheng survives due to his mom, or rather Chen's mother, covering him. She tells him how her biggest worry in life was to make the two driest people for her in the world, meaning him and his father, happy and comfortable. She talks about her miss coming and how she always tried her best to support her family and push them forward, before starting to sing a song while her grip on life is slowly loosened, and with it my grip on my heart. God damn, that episode hit hard. Peak drama it was. And to add to the moment, when Cheng returned to the present time, he punches Guang in anger, before collapsing to his knees and crying onto Guang's chest, because Guang knew that this would happen and yet didn't tell him, as it wouldn't have changed anything. He knew it as well as the client, who only wanted closure by going back and saying the words he didn't say at the time. And with that out of the way, he managed to go on with life and build a family, while cherishing the memories he had with his friends and mother. After this riot of sadness and sorrow, Cheng and Guang tells Ling that they will be taking a break from entering photos, and then a police officer arrives and asks about the mystical business being conducted. Yeah, as you guessed, the police officer's arrival means the lows keep getting lower, as it was revealed that the police officer was accompanied by a father whose son got kidnapped 3 years ago, and after hearing the rumors about the studio, they came seeking help with the case. Although the kind-hearted, emotional Cheng saw the father so utterly saddened by his kid's disappearance, he declines the job and turns him away, as Cheng had just decided to put operations on pause, and leaves the man with cold words saying, even if they can go back, what happened happened. They can't change the past nor the future. A thing he learned after the emotional trauma he endured with the last mission. So the man heads back home to his wife that has gone mad, watching the last show her son watched before he got kidnapped. The husband fed her and then went back outside to put up new missing posters. While back in the studio, Ling admits she saw the child, Dao Dao, being kidnapped from his parents' milk tea store 3 years prior, but didn't know what was happening at the time. So when the next day the news spread around, she tried to avoid the father because she was so shamed by herself. Also, she adds that after all these years, he's still looking for him and hasn't lost hope. Those words reawaken the hope in the damaged heart of our boy, and so with the help of Guang, they contact the man asking him for images from that day. Using CCTV footage from the police to look for clues, the duo runs to a dead end in the present time. So Cheng has to jump back in time and search the scene. As such, the CCTV footage sends Cheng into the past as himself. He looks over the kid and wonders if he can just save him, but he gets cut off by Guang mid-sentence, who tells him they must not change the past, and that the only reason he accepted the last message, and the ones before, is not that they can change the past or future, but because they can give some sort of closure to the people in the present. Sadly, when the duo was talking, the kidnapper appears snatching the kid without our boy noticing, so he ran after him to see his face. While chasing, he runs into Xiao Ling in the past. Therefore, Cheng loses track of the kidnapper while trying to avoid changing the timeline by interacting with Ling. Afterward, Ling talks with the father and mentally ill mother, and admits she saw the child in the past and apologizes for not acting. However, the old man is not angry about past mistakes, but hopeful for the future, as her presence meant he still has a chance. And a chance he has. By using a photo taken by Dao Dao, the duo gains enough clues to identify the kidnapper and save the child. After the reunion, the police chief confronts Cheng about his abilities, yet our boy acts dumb. Thus, he asks how Cheng got into the CCTV footage, and then he asks for help on a serial murder case. Guang looks at the photos of the case, one of which is Emma's corpse. Guang hides the photo before Cheng sees it, substituting it for an image of the killer, and turns down the case. The next day, Shan, a friend of the Time Photo Studio gang, requests aid in discovering what her close friend and likely love interest Dong Yi said to her when she blacked out from drinking way too much. Now, back in the past, just as Chen is hearing what Dong said, he notices a man approaching Shan's friend. Fearing the man was the serial killer from the police chief's photograph, Chen chases the man into an alleyway. It turned out to be a man Shan recently turned down and was not the serial killer. In the present, Guang texts the girl what Dong said to her. Then she receives a message from her husband asking her to accompany him for an interview. Meanwhile, the group receives an uncharacteristic text message in reply. Concerned, they call Shan and are surprised to hear a not-so-feminine voice. The creepy man says, "Sure, I will come," before hanging up. Fearing the strange man on the phone was the killer, Guang visits the police. Looking at the CCTV photo of the killer, Guang can identify the license plate of the killer. Guang then sees Chen in the photo and realizes Chen entered the photo alone. The police chief visits Liu Men, the primary suspect and owner of the vehicle, to find him paralyzed from a recent automobile accident. Liu Men being in the hospital provides an alibi for the crime. Chen, in the photograph, gets into the trunk of Liu Men's vehicle as Leo and Emma get inside. Leo drives to an isolated location and begins to strangle Emma, saying her name aloud. Chen hears this name and realizes that his actions as Emma changed her course of fate and brought her to this point in time, to be murdered. Chen yells in distress, and just as Liu Men is about to open the trunk, Chen leaves the image. Chen reappears at the Time Photo Studio in front of an angry Guang and a very surprised Ling. The defeated Chen admits that he did not change anything and realized the futility of his actions. He takes responsibility for Ling not seeing Dao Dao, as he was the reason she was distracted. However, Ling is most surprised to learn about Chen's ability, yet she manages to shake it off to see if the police made any progress. The police report Leo's injury and say that Emma could not have been murdered, as CCTV footage shows her walking alone on a bridge. Finding a photo taken by Shan before her disappearance, Guang discovers that something bad has happened to Shan, and Chen mentally prepares himself for what may happen if he enters the photo. Meanwhile, Dong Li waits for Shan to join him for an interview. At the Time Photo Studio, Chen enters the photo, where he has conversations with himself and his friends and learns what some of them truly think of him, both positive and negative. The backstory of Guang's friendship with Chen and Zhao is shown, as the confrontation between the girl and the attacker draws near. Now, this might get a bit trippy, people, so focus up. In the present, the same attacker enters the Time Photo Studio at night. Simultaneously, Chen stops the attacker from killing Shan, and Guang runs to the development room and locks the attacker inside. Turns out Chen made a deal with the attacker in the photo, and then returned to the present, appearing in the development room with the attacker. In other words, we are now in an alternative timeline. To put it simply, the attacker visiting the studio was part of Chen's plan. Remembering the uncharacteristic text message from Shan, Chen has planned to confront the attacker and make a deal with him by providing the attacker a hint in return for Shan's safety. Guang agrees with the plan due to Chen's thorough preparation. The attacker also agrees and finds himself locked in the development room with Chen in the present. I know it's confusing, but that's how it's like with time travel stuff, KEKW. However, what you need to know now is that the two are fighting. With Chen entering photographs of the attacker's victims and coming out attacking him, throughout the fight, the killer notices Chen claps his hands to transport. After defeating him, the killer is revealed to be Liu Men. As such, he gets arrested by authorities. While interrogating the madman, the police officers get confused by Liu Men's inconsistent paralysis. Also, what is a bit confusing is Liu Men talking about his friend who did the killings, discussing the killings in a manner suggesting schizophrenia or multiple personalities disorder. This further confuses the authorities, who have a diagnosis of no mental illness. Chen asks for the CCTV footage of Emma and uses it to attempt to save Emma. It is revealed that following Chen's near discovery in the trunk of Leo's car, Leo is afraid he had killed Emma and rushed to a hospital. Emma regains consciousness and in a stupor causes Leo to crash the car. Emma survives and tries to text her parents, who are waiting for her to find her phone broken. Just before jumping off the bridge, Chen talks Emma out of it, revealing his ability and providing encouragement to her. Emma's eyes then change and she jumps off the bridge. While in the present, Ling's eyes do the same, and she stabs Guang. Chen and Guang both realize moments prior that another person can take over bodies, and Chen returns to the present to discover a bloody Guang. The possessed Ling taunts Chen for cheating and remarks that they look forward to the continuation of their reset game.